Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I wanted to shoot this video. I always try to put up a little bit more polished content than this, a little bit more professional, I guess, but it is what it is. I'm on my way to the gym, and I just kind of thinking about some things, and I often do that when I work out. That's one of the biggest reasons I like working out, because it gives me time to think. But some years back, I put a video out on YouTube about quitting my 9 to 5. Now, it's not actually on this channel. I will probably upload it at a later time. But I wanted to kind of talk with you guys about the entrepreneurial journey up to this point. You know, I quit my 9 to 5. It's actually like a 6 to 2, but I quit my job back in 2014 to pursue my photography career full time. And you know, it wasn't like I just quit my job, bought a camera, started shooting. I had already been, shooting for years. You know, I had a full-time job. I was kind of shooting on the side. And at this particular point in time, you know, we had started having children. And, you know, I felt like it was just the right time to pull the trigger. Actually, I felt like if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And so this is my 7th year, and if I was to sit up here and to say it's been all rainbows and unicorns, I'd be lying. This journey has definitely had its challenges. I will say this: the biggest thing that I have learned is the deficiencies within myself, right? You know, a lot of times when you have a job, you have a full-time job, and you have something else that you're doing on the side. Sorry about the sun. Your job, because it's pretty much a consistent paycheck, will oftentimes camouflage a lot of areas that you need to work on when it comes to being a business owner. Because you always know, if I don't get a client or something, you know, doesn't work out, I always have my paycheck to kind of fall back on, right? So when I started out on this journey, one of the first things that I noticed was, man, like I'm a little lazy, right? And that was the first thing I had to look at. You know, my follow-up wasn't what it needed to be. And you know, when you're a creative, whether you're in video, photography, fashion, makeup, whatever it is, you know, it's easy to get caught up in the whole people telling you your work is good, and you ride off of that because you get so used to the good things, and then when people give you criticism, oftentimes we take it personal and we don't really listen to it like we should. So when you come from that type of mindset and then you get into the entrepreneurial world full time, it's challenging, you know, because I took a huge risk. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. I still, to this day, it's every day. It is a journey, you know, it's a journey to be a better version of myself. It's a journey to find the right clients, price my work accordingly. You know, it's a constant thing. You know, a lot of times we get into business, and this is where I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs mess up. When we get into business, we get into it for the love of what we do, whatever service or product that we're able to provide. That's why we do it, right? But the trick is understanding that the reason that you got into business, in my case, photography, you're only going to be doing that probably about 15% of the time, unless you start a business where you start with a team and you got people doing different things. You got people in sales, you got people in marketing, you got a technical team that help you, you know, with everything else you have going on. And then you can solely focus on the career. or what it is you want to do, if you don't have a team in place, you're going to be doing more business stuff than you are actually why you wanted to start the business, right? And so I will say be mindful of that. Do I regret this journey? Absolutely not. I've been able to watch my children grow. I have been able to, like I said, learn a lot about myself. My wife has been amazing in this. We've been together now at this point. We have been together. I think this is year 17 for us. We've been married for coming up on 12. And so, this whole thing, I think as a photographer, if I could offer one piece of advice, it would be to quickly identify who your target market is and to price your work accordingly. A lot of times, guys, it's money out here. There are clients that are out here that are willing to pay you what it is that you're worth or what it is that you feel that you're worth. However, if as a creative, and I know I'm speaking to you guys as a photographer, but I think this applies to other creative fields, right? You have to quickly treat this as a business. I see so many photographers and other creators just, for instance, just pricing themselves out, just getting by. And it almost becomes like hustle money because you're not quite charging enough. And what that means is you got to take on so much work to make it worthwhile. And then one thing you have to understand about pricing is every time you change your price, you will lose part of your customer base, and that's okay. But once you've identified at least one client, especially once you get a couple of clients that'll pay your new asking price, now you have a market that you guys can go after. The trick is just making sure that you are charging what you need to charge, because it's trying to make sure I get my thoughts together just because I think this is important, because a lot of people are scared to make the leap. And if you make the leap, you have to understand it is going to challenge you in more ways than you can imagine. And I'm not saying that to scare you. What I'm saying is be willing to accept the challenge. Be willing to look at yourself and be like, I need to prove. Because remember, this goes back to what I said. We're in a situation as creators where we're used to people telling us that they love our work. Not everybody's going to love your work, but you're used to people giving you accolades on your work, right? If you're at a point where you feel like you could take the leap and then do this full time or pursue a full-time career, then you've probably had people telling you that they really like your work or that you're great and all that. So you get used to hearing those things. What that does is it tweaks your mindset. So when you do step out and go full time, you may not be in the best mental state of mind to actually look at your own deficiencies. Because the thing is, once you take this on, it can consume you. You wake up with it on your mind, you go to bed with it on your mind, because your mind is, especially if you don't have a big team, your mind is constantly working in different pockets. You're thinking about upcoming shoots. You're thinking about edits that you have to do. You're thinking about getting new business. You're thinking about marketing. You're thinking about all these different things. And so a lot of times I see so many photographers out here and they just accept whatever it is that people want to give them. And the thing is, if your audience, if your market is not paying you what it is you want, you have to be willing to make the adjustments to go after the market that will pay you what you want. And oftentimes that market may not be comfortable to you. It may not be working with the same people group that you're used to working with all the time. And that's okay. You might have to change your genre of photography, because I'm gonna be honest with you, you got sports photography, you've got family portraits, you've got executive portraits, you've got event photography, you got boudoir photography, you got so many, you got wildlife photography, you got so many genres of photography that you can get into, and each one of those genres pay a little. Each one of them, not a little. Each one of them pay differently. So if you're in one genre and it's not really paying you what it's worth, then you have to do a self-assessment and ask yourself, do I want to change? I love being a photographer. Do I want to change to get into something new? Or maybe this isn't just for me, or maybe I just want to keep this as a hobby. These are all questions that you have to start asking yourself, right? And if it's, I want to get into something new, then you have to look across the landscape of your whole business and ask yourself, does your business align with the market that you're going after? And if it doesn't, you got to be willing to change it, right? And let's talk about family and friends real quick. Family and friends, like I have a general rule now where because one of the toughest things for me is when family and friends, especially once your work starts getting out there, like I've been published quite a few times, and your work starts getting out there. So then, of course, family and friends may want to start working with you a little bit more, but it's tricky, especially if your rates are a little bit higher than what your circle is used to. So I offer, and hopefully this will help somebody out here, because I know this is a struggle for a lot of people that are photographers. When it comes to family and friends, I just have a standard discount, right? These are my rates. This is my family and friends discount, right? And a lot of times they'll take you up on it. A lot of times they won't. That's fine. But you have to understand, you're no longer doing this as, oh, that's Troy with the camera. Like, this is how I feed my family, right? And sometimes people will respect it. Sometimes people won't, because they're used to seeing you in a certain light, but that's okay. So I would say, 7 years in the game, I have learned a tremendous amount about myself. I still love what I do. I will also say this, because this isn't talked about a lot. I'm in my mid 40s now, and people don't understand, as a photographer, it is wear and tear on your body, moving gear all the time. You're on your feet all the time. Like if you're shooting weddings or whatever you're doing all the time, you're squatting, you're doing different things. All this stuff is taking its toll on your body, and it starts to make you not question, but start to ask yourself, how do I want to move in the future, right? How do I want to do this thing as I get older? And those are just some thoughts and different things that I continue to go through on a daily basis. Like I said, I still love this thing, but I'm a realist with it. Like I tell everybody, like, this is not, doing this full time may not be for everybody, right? You have to ask yourself, can you deal, are you risk averse, right? Are you used to dealing with risk? Or do you want to just keep your job and still continue to do this on the side? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the biggest thing is you have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, like, how do I really want to go all in with this photography? Or do I just want to take pictures and just, enjoy my camera, but still have the security of a 9-to-5? The payoff as an entrepreneur, once you start getting into the market you want to get into, and you start charging the rates that you want to charge, the payoff is wonderful. But you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing, like I said, to self-assess, to find out where you are, to be honest with yourself about where you are, and continually go through that. You have to continually, yearly, look at yourself, look at your business model, see if it's where you want to be. And honestly, as the longer I've been doing this, there's some things that I don't shoot anymore just because it's not an interest to me, or it's not financially beneficial for me to shoot those things anymore based on the time I'm spending doing it. But these are all things that you go through as a full-time entrepreneur. So again, this video is off the cuff. You can see I'm shooting this on my phone, but I wanted to put this out there to you all. I know there are a lot of photographers out there that are wondering, is this for me? Is it something that I should really do for myself? Is it possible? Just know that it is possible. I absolutely love it, but you got to put the work in. All right. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. If you have any questions, drop them below. I'm always looking in the comments, and we can chat about it. All right. Take care.